I actually woke up late today.
Did you really?
Yeah,
I
I,
woke
w-
up on time
I woke up like
because
20 minutes ago.
oof, sorry. I always set my. Did you set an alarm? I always have to set up an alarm.
I set up like five alarms. I have
Right,
like on the regular day I have one at like 6 because I'm trying to wake up early,
right,
and then if I fail I have one at 6:30.
right.
Oh.
All right.
And then I know if I fail at that point it's like all right we're just gonna put one for 8,
Right.
then 8:30. So today I put one for 8 and then 8:30, and I ended up waking up at like 8:40. So I was like
It's not too bad.
frantically trying to get things ready and trying to get things set up for this.
Right.
How are you, Rose?
I'm good. I'm good in the way of you mean like waking up today or like just in general.
Just in general, Rose, how are you?
Right. No, I'm doing well.
Mm-hmm.
I think that just like in the beginning of all this, like the social distancing and quarantine and whatnot, um, I feel like at first it was a little difficult to kind of reframe my mind
Mm-hmm.
behind this all being like what it is now, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Um, and like Erwin and we were kind of already like in that self quarantine mode a little earlier before most people because Erwin was sick, and we didn't really know what we had, so it was kind of just like let's do what the responsible thing would be to do, and that would be to kind of like self quarantine until we're okay, 100% for those 2 weeks. So that's what we did. So I guess for me, it was also it kind of felt like an abrupt kind of like change because I had already not been at work for a few days,
Mm-hmm.
and then then one week I just hear like, hey, actually stay home. We're actually going to be working from home now. So it was kind of just like, and I didn't even get to like see my supervisor or my coworkers and kind of just be like, peace. So that was kind of just like it was very abrupt for me. Um, but then I think afterwards, like through my own time with Jesus and just like being able to like sit still and kind of really reflect on what was happening during this season, that's when I was kind of just like, no, like, this is real. I can't numb it out. I can't like pretend that this isn't really what's going on, or what it's going to keep being like for some time. I think that's what it was. I think my mind was more like, oh, this is just like a 2 week thing. We're going to go back to normalcy
Mm-hmm.
in a few days. But it was kind of just like really realizing that no, this is going to be the case for a little while. So it's kind of like, what are you going to do with this time? What are you going to do now that you have reframed your mind in the way you look at this? And I think it honestly, I think it just stemmed from just like that place of wanting to be like, I don't want to say optimistic, but I guess optimistic, but in a twisted way because it's like optimistic, but you also have to be realistic.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have to couple the two. So once I was able to merge those two things, and I think also what helped me a lot was also Pastor Dave's preachings on Sundays where he talked a lot about that, about kind of just like what are we going to do with our time now? Are we going to see this season as a season to complain and kind of like just be like why and be angry, or are we just gonna kind of just like rise up to the occasion and do whatever it is that we need to get done? So in my own time with Jesus, and then also hearing that on Sunday was kind of just like confirmation that it's like, okay, Rose, like wake up. So once I did that, I felt like I could really kind of step into this time, if that makes sense. So for me, it's been really cool because I've been able to just really place more of an importance. Well, first of all, I can have way more time than I usually would in the mornings, like when it comes to, just speaking to Jesus, when it comes to reading my word. Because I've always had that time, but it was always, sorry, she just wants to come in the thing. Um, like, we've always had that time, but I felt like before, in the back of my mind, I was kind of just like, Rose, like you're taking too long to read or you're taking too long to do this. Um, but now I have a little more time because I'm taking out that commute time to work.
Mm-hmm.
So since I don't have that now, like I think mornings just have been so different, and um, it's been great. And then also just also being in a better space for like work, you
Mm-hmm.
know, um, kind of just like because again, like also my work intensified, like my workload, because what I do is we try to connect parents that have children under 5 years old to resources. So obviously, with everything that has happened, with everybody losing their jobs, or kind of getting a reduction in hours or in pay, there's so many families that are in need in Long Island, and so we would usually get a certain amount of calls a week, but now it's triple the amount. And it was kind of just like, okay, like we need to work faster. So that also was a little hard on me as well in the beginning, just because I am the only Spanish speaker. So it was kind of just, and my boss is very about like, we need to get back to these people in a certain amount of time. Okay. So in the back of my head, I kind of felt like, oh my God, I'm not getting back to these people in the time that I need to be. And so I started kind of feeling like I'm not doing my job as best as I could, but it's just because I just it was just overwhelming. But even that, like I started doing kind of like stretching in the morning and exercises as well. I kind of put more of an emphasis on that to kind of like help relieve nerves and all that anxiety. So that also has helped a lot, like in this season.
So obviously this season, you keep saying like this season or this time, and, right. And obviously we're talking about how like we're on social isolation and social quarantining, and New York, because we are from New York, has been on pause for like 2 months now, right. And we still have another 2 weeks of being on pause, tentatively, because it could extend if it does. So it's been quite a while. People have been home. Like you said, you were home 2 weeks prior to this all happening, and so for you, it's been a little bit longer. So you're mentioning that you're like stretching, and you're reading your Bible, or you're spending your time with Jesus. Are there like practical things that you are doing that help you maintain kind of that normalcy, or keep you grounded, even though you've been home for such a long time?
So I think for me, I first started off, so we have a room, bedroom, and then living room. So we had his desk set up in the living room, and I was set up in the bedroom. And reason being is because I kind of wanted like my own space, like you said, to kind of concentrate on work. But also my cats, as you see, even in this like interview right now, they like to kind of jump on my desk, appear in like videos and just whatnot. So it can be a little like disturbing during work. So I did start off with kind of making that the room kind of my like workspace, which we don't ever want to do that like prior to the situation, but because of the situation, we kind of had to make that the deal. But actually I transitioned back out to the living room. Okay. So now I'm here, and it works out because Erwin, when he's doing work, he zones in on work, like, and I'm able to zone in on my own work. So it kind of resembles The Office, because in The Office, like when you're surrounded by people and they're on their phones and whatnot, like I'm kind of back at that again, where he's on the phone with his boss, I'm on the phone with my coworkers, and it works out, thank God. Also, like you said, we have been kind of putting an emphasis on going out as well. So sometimes during lunch, we'll just go out and take a walk around the neighborhood, go to like Ralph's, that's down the block, okay. Or drive by like a nearby park to kind of get that fresh air. And I think the other practical thing that has really, really helped me, honestly, is that I'm the type of person that, like, I need a schedule. Like, I need to write down my thoughts and whatnot. So I'm not crazy about it in the sense that it's like I'm OCD, where it's like I need to check off everything. But I do kind of like to look at my day and kind of write down what I need to get, like, done in that day. And that way I kind of always have like a frame to look back to. And it's like, okay, I need to do this within this hour. And if I don't get to it, it's okay. But I think just being able to kind of like already have an idea of what I want to get done and kind of set it in a time block, it helps a lot.
You're mentioning that you like to write down your thoughts and all this, that, and the other. And so you have a blog. Obviously, people, I know I mentioned in your blog that I spend a lot of time just working on creativity. Like for me, that's how I'm keeping myself grounded, is not necessarily because I don't have the ability to work from home like you guys do. Right. So I've been here kind of just figuring out what I'm trying to do with my life for right. these past 2 months. But you have a blog. which I feel
Yeah,
like is your way of maintaining your creativity and keeping that kind of going and that flowing.
right.
Have you done anything with your blog recently? Like, when's the last time you posted with your blog?
I want to say the last time I posted was about 3 weeks ago. So
Okay.
kind of like in the midst of all this. And my post was basically on, it was called Fix Your Thoughts, which was kind of like what I was going through, where I kind of had to go back, like I said before, and reframe my mind. So that was my latest blog post.
Okay. And so, have you been like generating ideas through this whole process of like things you want to write about or
Yeah,
stuff you
yeah.
want to say?
Yeah, I definitely do generate my ideas when it comes to head and I write them in my notebook. But I think it's just kind of like, all right, getting those ideas into actual blog posts.
Hmm.
That's the next step.
Yeah, yeah. So your blog is just random things, or is there like a purpose to your blog that you write about?
So I feel like if I were to put into a category, I would say lifestyle. And I think up until now, it's been mostly based off of kind of just like my relationship with Jesus and things that I've learned. Um, but I think going forward, like I do want to implement some mundane things, kind of like how to make the perfect cup of matcha or something, just because that is something that I love and it's also beneficial, but for all its health benefits and whatnot. But I think always like the core of it will always be based off of like what Jesus has done in my life and what He's doing in my life. Um, just because at the end of the day, that's really that's the only thing that matters.
Hmm.
So I think that will always be like that will always be the core of my blog. But I am also excited to kind of implement things where it's like how to make your own wreath or something because it's fun.
Okay. I know I've read a couple of yours, and I've tried to stay on top of your writing. I've
Right.
been an OG follower, uh,
Yes, thank you, Steve.
and some of the things that you write are very challenging in like
Right,
your thoughts. I know you and Erwin are people that like to challenge other people's thoughts, and not necessarily like I know better than you, but
right,
rather what if you think about it this way,
right.
rather than just being stuck in your own thought process and what you think about life. So what is your purpose? Like, what do you want people to get out of your blog?
I feel like I want people to, I mean, get entertainment, because I feel like sometimes I do share things that are like funny. So entertainment, or maybe I need to put more in of that, but entertainment, and then I'd say also definitely to be inspired. I want them to be able to kind of, like you said, look at something and shift their mindset. I think journaling has always been, a way to process my thoughts. But I think there was a period where it was also very like depressive and unhealthy. So through Jesus, I've been able to kind of turn that around, and I feel like I can use this for something where it's positive, something that's meaningful.
Mm.
So that's what I want to be able to do, kind of help shift people's mindsets when they read what I write or what I share.
Yeah, yeah. Um, so I know, like for me, for example, like I with like this YouTube channel that I'm doing, trying to encourage people, right? And I think at the essence of it all, we want to just encourage people. We want to bring
Yeah,
hope to people, and that's what Jesus did, right? We want to be more like Jesus, and Jesus did exactly that. He brought
right.
hope to people. He brought new life to those that felt like they had nothing left to give or nothing worth living for. Um, is that something that you're trying to do through your blog as well? Because I know you say inspire, but do you also want to encourage people in this season or just in every season of life?
100%. And I think that's what like I wanted to say when I said inspired was, like you said, to give hope to the hopeless.
Hmm.
To be able to inspire people to look at life in a different way. And I think life truly is beautiful, and it truly is a gift. And especially when Jesus, like everything changes. So that's really my purpose, to be able to help. I think it would be really cool if through my blog, let's say I had a reader that isn't Christian, and I do have some readers that aren't Christian. It would be cool if I knew at the end of the day I was at least able to get one person that does not believe in Jesus, does not have a relationship with Jesus, to ultimately um, kind of get curious about it and ultimately become a believer or ultimately start believing in Jesus, like that to me, I'd be like, wow, Rose, like it would just be amazing. And I think it would be so fulfilling to know that it was purposeful and it did accomplish what I wanted it to accomplish, basically.
Yeah. And I think it's interesting because it's not like you're writing like you need Jesus. You know, Jesus
Right.
died for you. Repent, you sinner. It's more like, you
Right.
know, just your lifestyle and the hope and the joy that you bring through life, that inspires people and that, you know,
Yeah.
leads people to that thought process. And I think
Right.
that's where we're both being challenged is how do we maintain that and how do we continue to do that even when sometimes our own lives we become doubtful, even though
Yeah.
sometimes in our lives we're challenged and we're struggling, because I know we're all struggling right now.
Right.
But how do we maintain that consistency in our lives so that when other people see us or talk to us or encounter us, that they see that in us, you know? um, but Rose, you're an amazing person, Rose.
Thank you,
And
Steve.
you continue to challenge, you continue to inspire. And I know anybody that speaks to you, anybody that talks to you, when they leave from your conversation, they always leave better than when they went into the conversation. So Rose, continue to
Thank you.
be a guide keeper, continue to be a light to those who need help.
Thank you so much.
You're amazing, Rose. Uh, if you don't know, I'm looking at the camera right here, Rose. I have like three
Okay.
cameras going. If you don't know, Rose has a blog, and if you like reading, you can read her blog, right, Rose? Yeah, there you
Yes.
go. What's the link?
It's roseasanarrow.com.
Rose as an arrow. That I will put it right. It'll be right here. There you go. But it also is going to be in the link. There's going to be a link in the description that you can click on it and you can read all of her posts, and they're all amazing. They're all very different. Nothing is
Yeah.
ever the same. Some of them are funny, some of them are a little bit more personal, but I think
Yeah.
they're all good reads, and it's a good time. If you want to read more about this interview right here, it'll be up there as well. But that one's not important. What's important is the other ones that Rose have already written, because she has really awesome thoughts and really awesome things to share with you. Um, so that's it. Go check it out right now. Right now. Do
Yeah,
it.
and also fun fact, tell them that I'm gonna post my interview on you up on my blog.
Don't do it just yet. So
That's also very important.
okay. So this there will also be an interview that Rose did of me on the blog as well. So check that out as well. But check everything out.
Yeah.
Check it out right now. Do it. Do it all right now.